Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you on this Wednesday afternoon as we move a little deeper into the month of June, and we put the finishing touches on the NHL season last night. And congrats to the Panthers. And we have a Game 7 tomorrow night, a Game 6 tomorrow night. We'll see if we have a Game 7 with Indiana. Home trying to stay alive against Oklahoma City. And here in New York, we have this crisis building. You know, it has been a kind of a magic carpet ride for the Yankees and the Mets this year. Now, of course, the Soto thing was a bother to Met fans, but they were winning. They've both won a lot early in the season. They both have stayed comfortably in first place for most of the campaign. And remain in first place despite the slumps now. But neither team had a 4-game losing streak. Now they both have 4-game losing streaks after the Yankees got shut out again last night. And they have gone completely ice cold to the point of it being very surprising for a team that has the Yankees' offensive abilities and has the centerpiece in Judge to go as cold as they have gone right now. 3 straight shutouts, all the strikeouts. Even if you go back to the last game they won it 1-0. So the bottom line is the offense has just been turned off completely. They've lost 4 games in a row, and they've done it against mediocre Angel pitching, which has been kind of surprising. Now tonight they face a guy that you'll be very surprised if they don't hit. Plus, I just came off the golf course, and early today it was rainy when we went out this morning, and it was still foggy. By the time we left this afternoon, it was really hot. The sun was out. It was a warm summer afternoon. The ball's going to carry tonight. The ball did not carry at Yankee Stadium. I really thought the Goldschmidt ball, I don't think would have gone out under normal conditions, that he hit to left center field. The ball Bellinger hit in the last inning with 2 on after they walked Judge, I thought that would have been out of the ballpark 9 days out of 10. I thought that was gone when he hit it. That one surprised me. The ball, I think, will travel more tonight, which will probably be to the Yankees' advantage. And they haven't played well of late. 7-8 over 15, 3-7 over 10, 5 straight losses, not scoring any runs. And you can sense that not because they're in first place and the lead has dwindled, because, you know, Tampa is not a great team. They've played well late. They lost yesterday. And Tampa's going to go through something big here, as we'll get to in a little while. But there's not a great team in the division to challenge them. The Red Sox, you know, are warming up, but they get rid of Devers, which is going to hurt them dramatically. The Yankees aren't a great team. I've been telling you that all year. They probably had some guys get off to better starts than were realistic. Grisham, Rice, even Goldschmidt. They have cooled off dramatically. Stanton will come back and provide some offense, especially in the postseason. But let's be honest, they've all hit the skids at the same time, and they don't know what to do when Judge hits the skids. And Judge is 3 for his last 24. He hit that very dramatic home run in Boston. They didn't win that game. He's 3 for his last 24. Bellinger's 4 for his last 29. Rice is 3 for his last 23. Volpe's 4 for his last 25. Stanton won't be in the lineup tonight. Dominguez will be the DH. They'll give him a day off. They have a day game tomorrow. But the power has been turned off. When the power is off, the Yankees don't score runs because they don't build runs. They haven't built runs as a team in a very long time. They win on home runs. They win on pitching and home runs. That's how they win. And they win when they break games open. What the Yankees do is they go along and then they get into they see a lot of pitches. They get a lot of walks, which they're not getting right now either. They get a lot of walks. They get into the underbelly of the bullpens early, and they beat up on those pitches. That's exactly what they do, and then they turn 2-run games into 6-run games because they hit home runs late. It's how they play. That's exactly how they play, but they don't do that against good teams, and you'll see this team against good teams is how you should measure it, and they might not come out looking that great when you see them from that standpoint. Now, the pitching's been better than you think. It's been pretty good. It's been surprisingly good, and Warren was great last night. He had great stuff. Deserved better. Got a couple of bad breaks, balls that just got away, a ball LeMahieu could have played, a ball that Chisholm could have played. Could have been a different inning. He had really, really good stuff last night. Really good fastball, and he was impressive, and he's thrown the ball well. Would you be worried? I think this is compounded. I think, first of all, the Yankees never like when they lose to Boston, and they never like when they get swept by Boston. So that left a bad taste in their mouth. They wanted to come home and rinse it right away with the Angels, and they didn't do it, and they got shut out again. They didn't do it, then they got shut out again, and all of a sudden, oh, we're looking at historic Yankee shutouts, Yankee ineptitude, Yankee anemia, blah, blah, blah. And now it's built, and yesterday it was clear they were pressing. Clear. And what happens is everybody tries to, hit the ball out of the ballpark. Everybody tries to be the guy, and instead of going the other way, instead of doing what you're supposed to do and building a couple of runs, get a bleeder, get a walk, get another walk, get a double, and all of a sudden you got a couple of runs. This will end all at once, boom, and it'll be over. That's just the way it is. Now, will it win tonight? Probably because of the opposing pitcher, but you never know. Because in baseball, remember, momentum is never more than tomorrow's starting pitcher. If you put a lousy pitcher on the mound, the momentum probably will change. Just the way it works. And I would expect with the pitcher on the mound tonight, the Yankees will score runs. Are they a great team? No. Has this been a little bit of a wake-up call? Yes, I think people were getting ahead of themselves. And the Yankees are going through a soft part of the schedule right now. They haven't been good against the division. And you always want to, despite the crazy schedule we have now, you still want to play well against the division. And hey, the American League's not loaded, but Detroit's a team that could give the Yankees a lot of trouble come postseason. And anything short of a World Series will be very disappointing for the Yankees. Now, the Mets, they've done a great job all year. Soto was starting to warm up. Had in the homer last night. All right, he among others pulled rocks on the base paths, and Alvarez had a bad time behind the plate. Obviously, made a terrible play when he threw behind the runner. And the Mets gave away a game after losing 3 straight. And listen, the Met fans have had great success. Have seen their team win a lot at home. And let's be honest, they wanted to go enjoy Father's Day, and nothing worse than going to the ballpark. Big crowd, people are excited. They go out for Father's Day. The place is packed, and all of a sudden it's 9-0 Tampa. Nothing leaves a worse taste in your mouth than that. Going to Atlanta, want to prove against the Braves, because the Mets have this thing about the Braves. Always, they have this inferiority complex against the Braves, even when the Braves are struggling. And last night, the Braves get the big hit from Osuna when he's almost struck out, and then the Mets make bonehead plays on the base paths, make bad plays in the field, and the next thing you know, they give the Braves a game. Does that give the Braves a lot of life? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see what happens there. They're still in first place. All right. A 2-game lead over the Phillies. Atlanta's still 11 games back in the loss column. A 4-game losing streak is not the end of the world, but losing to the Braves, and it's now Braves, Phillies, Braves, that bothers the Mets. It dredges up a lot of bad thoughts for Met fans, for Mets, for everybody when it comes to the Braves. So all of a sudden, as this year was merrily just rolling along, and you were hearing big talk from both teams, now they've both hit a patch in the road. Let's see when it ends. Maybe it ends tonight. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see what happens. Is it the end of the world if it's not? No. I mean, I expect the Yankees to score a run tonight. It's been amazing that a team that has the kind of offense they have has not scored. But the Yankees have to prove that they can be a impressive offense when Judge is not great, and they haven't proved that. Last year Soto and Judge did so much as a 1-2 punch that you will not see again. It was unique. So we'll see how certain guys react, how Rice reacts, how Grissom reacts the rest of the way, how Grissom reacts, how Dominguez reacts, how Chisholm reacts. Do they have to add things to this team? Yes. Should they not be satisfied with this team? I think they shouldn't. And I think this actually probably presents a good wake-up call in that regard. Now, game 6 tomorrow night, Halliburton, don't make a big deal out of the last game, okay? I mean, all right, it was a nightmarish game. He's hurting. Should he play hurt? No, not against that backcourt. He should not play hurt. And he's got to be honest. He's got to be honest about game 6 because they can compensate. They're deep enough to compensate. Edge McConnell's minutes up to like 20 for the game, and he was dynamic the other night. He was the reason they rallied. He was sensational. If you play Mathurin, he's going to score. I don't think there's any question about that. They could play Obi Toppin with Siakam and Turner, and them Harden and Nesmith. They can play that lineup when they want. They can play Mathurin. They can play McConnell. They can get by for a game without Halliburton. And I'll tell you this. Oklahoma City's the better team. They're going to win this series. They're going to win the 7th game, if there is a 7th game. And I'm sure they'll get an opportunity to win tomorrow night. But I'll tell you, I have seen a very immature strain in Oklahoma City throughout the entire playoffs that makes me think I would not be the least bit, Halliburton or no Halliburton, I would not be the least bit surprised if Indiana won game 6. And I do think that would be kind of I don't want to call it a moral victory, but it would be a big moment for them not to die on the sword in Indiana. And then just force it to a 1 game against a team that was a 7-1 favorite to win the series. I know people are getting on Carlisle about Halliburton. Hey, what Carlisle is going to do in that spot the first time the other night is he's going to trust what Halliburton tells him. And if Halliburton tells him I can go, you're going to put him in the game. Now, after what we saw in that game, Halliburton's going to have to show him in practice today, in warm-ups tomorrow, that he can do it without any fuss. Otherwise, he sits in game 6. And that's how I expect Carlisle to play this. Listen, Carlisle has been sensational. To me, he's Indiana's MVP. He's been so good. But I would not be the least bit surprised. And this is more about OKC than it is Indiana. I think Indiana will play well in game 6. I think they'll be spirited. I think they'll play loose. I think they'll play well. I think there is a very, very immature strain in this OKC team, which could force this to 7 games. I would not be surprised in the least. Now, Florida winning last night. You know, it's funny. I was playing golf with a guy who's a very big hockey guy. And before the series, I asked him what he thought, and he said, Edmonton just doesn't have the goaltending. And he was right. I mean, I think that was probably the difference in the series. And Marchand was great. I mean, there are a lot of, Florida's got a lot of guys. And back-to-back championships is a great run. It really is. And considering where that franchise was, for Vinny Viola, who I know a little bit. I mean, I know him casually. It's a great accomplishment, the back-to-back championships. Impressive coach, impressive team. The other thing I wanted to mention was, hey, if I'm the NBA, the WNBA, I don't want to be heavy-handed, but you have got to put your foot down. You cannot allow the other players in this league to take really deliberate, cheap shots at Caitlin Clark. I mean, the only chance that league has is her presence. And they really take some crazy runs at her. I mean, we know there's a tremendous amount of jealousy towards her, which doesn't make a lot of sense if you sit back and think about it. She is going to save that league, and she is going to raise all boats, whatever she gets, and she will get more than everybody else. Just like Tiger Woods got more than everybody else. She will get more than everybody else, but she will raise everybody's pay in the long run. And that league can survive because of her. That's how big a drawing card she is. I mean, people who would never, ever go near that league want to watch her play. That's a gift she has. Don't be jealous of it. Embrace it. It's good for your league. She is the heartbeat of that league right now. The WNBA is going nowhere without her. Nowhere. It's never gone anywhere. You can have top players. You can have successful franchises. It doesn't make any difference. You now have someone who has mass appeal, who is a legitimate showstopper. She brings people from all different walks of life, all different people from everywhere to the game because she's that entertaining. And you know what? Hey, embrace it, because if you don't, you got to be out of your mind. And to have her get, poked in the eye and knocked over and beat up and stuff like that, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't think she should be treated with kid gloves. I'm not saying that. And she seems to be very feisty, and she evidently talks a good amount of trash. And you know what? Fine. I'm not looking to put her in a plastic bubble. But you cannot allow people to go out of their way to try to hurt her. She's too valuable. Now, I mentioned Tampa Bay before. And if you've listened to my program through the years, you know that I've had a relationship with the Tampa Bay owner who has been one of the brilliant owners in all the sports, not just because he has taken a franchise with no revenue and turned it into a really prolific winner. It's also he has trained executive and sprinkled them all over the league. He has taught people how to change the way they value players and how they improve players and how they look at personnel. And this is all with his leadership. And now Stu Sternberg, who is a New York guy, who has lived with all that frustration with that team for a long time, has basically gone into an agreement to sell the team. And a team that he purchased for $200 million and kept alive when nobody, not only kept it alive, thrived, revolutionized the sport in many ways, will now sell it for $1.7 billion. Listen, you never had to worry about him making money. This guy was a guy who retired at a very young age because he was obviously very astute. Making money was never going to be a problem. He could have made money without ever buying a baseball team, but he leaves an enormous mark. And now his time is to take his profit and pass it on to somebody else. But he leaves, I think, a tremendous imprint on the game. He changed it in a lot of ways. He really did. I mean, just look at that franchise and player after player that they produce, youngsters they produce, players they trade for, players they take from other teams and turn them into stars, pitchers they take from other teams and develop. And the Mets have done a lot of that with Stearns in the last 2 years with their pitching staff. He, in a place like Tampa with no revenue, fighting the fight all the time against the Yankees and the Red Sox and the glamour teams with incredible revenues, he more than held his own. More than held his own in a very, very big way. I don't think there's any question. Two things about the Knicks. Number one, I know you've seen that Durant evidently wanted the Knicks to be part of to be one of the teams that came after him, and the Knicks said no. Thank God they did, because if anyone goes after Durant, they're out of their minds. As a matter of fact, if some of these trades I heard went through, like if San Antonio ever gave up Castle for Durant, they are out of their mind. I believe they said no, but I would hope they would say no. I would say no to Durant. And Durant's going to just ruin your team now. He's not going to make your team better. I don't care. No, wherever he goes, it's going to be a problem. Is he still a good shooter? Yes. Is he going to improve your chance to win? No, he is not. He is not. And the Knicks need to stay clear. As far as the Knicks having to meet somebody's timetable to hire a coach, hey, I know the Knicks are getting bashed for this whole process. I don't see how you attack them on what they did in relieving Tibbs of his duties and hiring a new staff until they hire a staff. You can't tell me it's bad until we see what the finished product is. We don't know what the product is. What if the product is something that looks really good? Then was it a bad thing? Now, maybe it won't work out and maybe we won't be happy with the product. and with the final results. But until you see the final results, I don't know how you can. It's like sitting there and saying, "Oh, it's a terrible trade. What's the trade? Well, we don't know the trade yet, but it's a terrible trade." It's, we don't know the result yet. Until we know the result, it's an open question. Did they improve their lot or not? We'll see. We don't know yet. Whether they did this in the timetable that you approved, who cares? And if they talk to people, hey, many, many smart teams through the years would always talk to as many people as they possibly could to pick the brains and garner information from other franchises. It was an old trick that Al Davis used all the time. Who cares how many people they interview? It means nothing until they decide who the coach is. And until they hire a coach, you cannot tell me this is a failed process. There is no process until they hire a coach because there's no result. You can't examine the process when you don't have a final result. They're going to hire a staff. Then we will know whether this was a good thing or a bad thing. But right now, to say that it's a bad thing is just silly. And I don't think interviewing people means anything until they offer people the job. Asking a franchise for permission to talk to their coach is not offering someone the job. It's asking them to interview and discuss the job with you. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know if it's gonna work out on the plus side or the negative side. I don't know. But neither does anybody else. So how can you come up with a final tally when there's no decision yet? Doesn't make any sense. We'll see you later.